A very good morning to all my respected seniors and dear friends. At the outset, I would like to thank the organizing team, Dr. Zungare Madam, Dr. Pranjal Madam, and Dr. Rashmi for giving me this opportunity. Respected Chairperson, my topic for today is all about HPV. As we all know, that HPV belongs to the group Papovaviruses. They are widely distributed in nature and found in more than 20 mammalian species as well as birds and reptiles. They are species-specific, double-stranded DNA viruses that infect the squamous epithelium and the mucous membrane. The HPV infects only the humans and grow only in the organ culture of the human skin. About more than 100 types of HPV have been recognized based on the genetic homology. We will now see the association of HPV with some of our clinical conditions. Most common are common warts, that is Verruca vulgaris, plantar warts, usually found on the hands and feet of children and adolescents, and mostly caused by the type 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then condylomata acuminatum or genital warts. They are moist, soft, pedunculated warts found on the external genitalia, is usually due to type 6, 11, 42 to 44. They may occasionally turn malignant. Then intraepithelial neoplasia is due to HPV type 6 and 11. There is close association between specific HPV type and genital malignancies in both the sexes. Then cervical cancer is caused by HPV type 16 and 18 in most of the cases. Then cofactors, they appear to be more important in the induction of HPV-associated malignancies. Laryngeal and esophageal carcinoma is associated with the following types of HPV. The HPV types that infect the genital tracts are categorized according to their epidemiological association with cervical cancer into low risk, that is non-oncogenic type, and high risk, that is oncogenic type. This is the classification. Then we will move on the epidemiology. It is most commonly sexually transmitted infection worldwide, although most of the time it gets cleared by the immune system. The prevalence of cervical HPV infection in the pre-vaccine era, they vary from 2.4% to 47% depending upon the age and the region. A study of over 1 lakh cases of invasive cervical cancer from 38 countries have showed that most common HPV types were 16, 18, 31, 33, and but type HPV and 16 and 18, they represented almost among the 80% of the cases. Among these, HPV 16 is twice as much common as any other high-risk type. Infection with one type of HPV does not prevent the infection with the other type. Of those who are infected with genital HPV, they are infected with multiple types of the viruses. There are 13 types of the high-risk HPV viruses that have been showed in this slide. Globally, they cause an estimated of 530,000 cases of cervical cancer and 1 lakh other cancers each year. Mostly type 16 and 18, they cause over 80% of the cervical cancer. HPV type 31, 33, 45, 52, and 58, they are estimated to cause an additional 20%. High-risk HPV, they are responsible, I have told you, for 90% of the anal cancer, 65% of the vaginal cancer, 50% vulvar, and 60% of the oropharyngeal cancer, and 35% of the penile cancer. It has been told that HPV is responsible for 4.5% of the global cancer burden. In 2018, the data was published that around 311,000 women died of cervical cancer. More than 85% of these deaths occurred in the developing and the underdeveloped countries. Then transmission and the risk factors. Transmission occurs frequently during the vaginal, oral, or anal sexual intercourse. Non-sexual transmission routes include the transmission from mother to the newborn, genital to genital, and hand-to-hand genital contact. Genital warts, they are highly contagious. Risk factor, sexual initiation in younger age, multiple sexual partners. The highest rate of HPV infection occur in 18 to 28 years of the age group. An estimated 80% of sexually active women become infected with at least one type of the HPV by the age of 50 years. Smoking, alcohol abuse, and existing other STDs, they also contribute. HPV infection may result in asymptomatic one, the benign warts, precancerous lesion, or the invasive cancer. They are asymptomatic and transient. 70% of the new genital infection gets cleared up in 1 year and the remaining within 2 years. The high-risk type are more likely to result in the persistent infections. The most common clinically significant manifestation of the persistent HPV infection is cervical intraepithelial neoplasia, that is CIN. Over a number of years, low-grade CIN may progress to CIN2 or CIN3. Due to the risk of this higher grade progression to cancer, they are considered as cervical cancer precursors. Persistent infection of the high-risk type is detectable in more than 99% of the cervical cancers. They have also a causal role in cancers of anus, penis, oropharyngeal, I have stated, vulva and vagina. It is also responsible for the range of precancerous lesion and anogenital wart. Then we come for the laboratory diagnosis. HPV infection can be recognized morphologically in the cervical smears by the presence of vacuolated cells with atypical and large hyperchromatic nuclei described as chyelocytes. But chyelocytes, they cannot differentiate between the low or the high-risk HPV type. Histological examination of a biopsy taken from the lesion identified at the colposcopy, they will show more specific feature of the HPV infection, including papillomatosis, hyperkeratinization of the surface layer, hypertrophy of the basal layer, and disorganization of the epidermal structures. Molecular HPV testing is more sensitive than the cytology for detection of high-grade CIN. HPV DNA testing. HPV cannot be easily propagated by standard in vitro culture systems, and in malignant tissue, there are little or no infectious HPV particles. For this reason, method to detect HPV and types are based on the detection of HPV nucleic acid in most assay format, that is HPV DNA. Then we will go for the collection of sample. The goal is to provide a cellular sample with preserved DNA from the site of infection. As we all know, the cervical transformation zone, that is TZ zone, is the site of origin of most cervical neoplastic lesion. The sampling for cervical cytology should be targeted from this area. After removing the excess cervical mucus, the cytobrush is introduced in the cervical canal so that the outer bristle, they lie on the ectocervix, and we rotate the device counterwise for full 3 circles. Then the sample is transported in the appropriate media. This is the transformation zone. Then molecular methods for detecting the HPV DNA. Molecular methods of HPV detection can be categorized into 2 main types. Those that rely on signal amplification to detect the targets. Just 3 slides. Most target amplification method, they rely on a PCR. But the most widely used signal amplification method is Digene hybrid capture 2 HPV test. They use simple alkaline lysis to release the sample DNA for hybridization in the probe cocktail of RNA. This semi-quantitative assay is designed for clinical use as an indicator of the risk of cervical neoplasia. It is very reproducible with very good inter-laboratory comparison and very good negative predictive values for the high-grade lesion. A low-cost version has been designed to be performed in low-resource setting requiring minimal equipments and training. This is the flow chart. How should we proceed? Now, I will talk on HPV vaccines. There are now vaccines that can prevent the precursors of the cervical cancer. They can be added to the comprehensive cervical cancer prevention strategy as a primary prevention tool. HPV 16 and 18, they cause majority of cervical cancer. The vaccines used currently are bivalent vaccine, that is HPV2, Cervarix from GSK against the HPV type 16-18, quadrivalent vaccine, Gardasil against type 6 and 11 along with 16 and 18, which are responsible for benign anogenital warts, recurrent respiratory papillomatosis, and HPV9, Gardasil 9 against the following HPV type. These vaccines are prophylactic and most effective when administered prior to the infection with the HPV, which is acquired by the most individuals shortly after the sexual debut. This is the vaccine. Then the recommended target population, the girls aged 19 to 13 years before the onset of the sexual activity, who should not receive the HPV vaccine, pregnant women or girls, person with a life-threatening allergy to any of the component of the vaccine. Then the recommended dosage schedule for the vaccine, 3 doses are recommended over 6 months. For the quadrivalent, the second dose is given 2 months after the first dose, and the last dose after the 6 months after the first dose. For bivalent, the second dose is administered after 1 month of first dose, and the third last dose at the 6th month after the first dose. Thank you for the patient hearing.
Thank you, ma'am.